Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session. I'm H.P. Goldfield and very honored to be here with you all. I'm also honored to have two very distinguished guests. Today's session is from first check to full stack. Inside the deal that turned a biotech bet into a billion-dollar platform. We'll explore what happens when venture capital and biotech innovation truly integrate. In the traditional venture playbook, investors fund startups and hope the odds pay off. But in deep tech and AI-driven biotech, the rules are different. Data networks and access to data matter as much as capital, and partnerships can drive competitiveness. I'm honored that we have two very distinguished leaders who embody this shift. Dr. Denis, co-founder and managing partner of Cathay Innovation, and Dr. Thomas Clozel, co-founder and CEO of Owkin. Together, they'll take us through how Owkin evolved from a Cathay-led Series A investment in 2017 to one of the world's most advanced AI biotech unicorns, and what that journey tells us about the future of innovation funding and execution. Let's start with how this all began, and I'd like to ask our two panel members to introduce themselves and say a word or two about the company, and then maybe, Denis, you can comment on the integration between the two of you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, I'm Denis. So I started with Mingpo Cathay Innovation 10 years ago. So now we have around 3 billion under management, manage the largest AI fund in the EU, which is 1 billion, and we build the largest ecosystem in the world for corporate to work with startup. So with more than 30 very large Fortune 500 companies who invested in our funds, and we operate in US, Europe, China, Southeast Asia, Africa, and South Asia, Latam.
Voilà. Hello, everyone. I don't know if you're here because the background is pretty tough. So I'm Thomas Clozel. I'm a physician by training. Used to be an oncologist. And I'm building Owkin, which is a company trying to build a new way to understand biology. Biology is just too complicated for the human mind. People are still trying to get a few arrows to understand why we are sick, why we have cancers, but AI is much needed. So this is why we're building a platform to understand biology.
Thank you. Let's get into it. The changing face of drug discovery. Drug development has historically needed at least a decade of clinical trials and programs, and hundreds of millions of dollars before meaningful product validation. If AI can shorten discovery timeframes meaningfully, how should venture investors rethink risk, capital intensity, and exits?
So first we are investor. We did a
first investor, yeah, that was 10 years
10
ago.
years. So we met him 10 years ago when you were starting, and at that time nobody was investing in AI and healthcare. So in terms of opportunity, we thought that there was. In fact, you were talking about biotech. So biotech was not really tech, it was not really engineer. And also because of its God, it's bio. So humankind cannot really anticipate everything. So you need to understand what happens. And AI is just a tool. We believe the right tool to simulate, to understand the correlation between tools. So we figure out, because also of him and your great co-founder, that to simulate and to find the correlation in nature will help to do new drug, and the disruption was ready to happen. So it was more risk, but common sense said it should work, and this is a disruptive way, and there is no model of really acquisition by large companies. Would say, usually they buy drugs. Will they buy digital platforms? We don't know. This is the risk. But by doing something new, by having results, they would. So we bet on him.
Yeah, I mean, like,
So what did you
that
do?
was a really good bet.
What did you
Thank
do?
you.
What
Very
did
good
you do
choice.
since 10 years?
nothing like coming to
to
Riyadh and
prove
having fun.
something happened.
Yeah, no, but you guys have to understand that pharma is also like, pharma is building drugs as of today. But pharma is, if you look at Pfizer, for example, 200,000 patients, 200,000 employees,
right.
they haven't figured out to find a new drug in the last 5 years. So pharma is so much legacy, it's like very difficult. They're still using like intuition, raising your hands to develop a drug, spending a lot of money just for having very, very low ROI. So I think the future of pharma and the future of drug discovery have to be built on new AI companies, even on new AGI native companies. And it's very possible that OpenAI type of companies will be the future of pharma. You know, OpenAI is betting very big on biology. And there is no winner in biology space. So maybe it will be us, Owkin, I don't know, or Bioptimus with Professor Jean-Philippe Vert, who's here. No one knows, but I think the future of pharma and drug discovery will be AGI native, built from scratch, not trying to rematch a legacy of old pharma. But I don't know, Denis, what's your vision on future of pharma? What do you think? Pharma still has a future in AI?
Dennis, do you agree? Do you agree?
Yes, thank you.
Of course, I agree. Even if sometimes we disagree.
Why did you wink?
And I think also, when you speak about pharma, there are several topics. There is the creation of drugs, but in the creation of drugs, there is the creation of a molecule. But after, AI can also help with everything after. So when you create a molecule, you want to test it. Usually it's pretty hard because you test on a lot of people, you have samples. And with AI, you can really define what kind of samples of people, what is the precision of the drug you can have. So there is much, there might be a renewal of the business model of pharma where you have a much higher success rate. They must also have some for inclusion, for population. You have drugs that could work for definite population, and there are some population. Drugs are not really made for them because you cannot do that. So AI is not only for the molecule, but also for clinical trials, for business model. And after, when you speak about the health, it's also how you take the medicine, how you follow, and how you decrease the cost of the system while doing better. So it's really from zero to everything. It embeds everything. And in the future, maybe you can link everything, which was not possible. So when you take a drug, when you take medicine, maybe you can have a feedback loop on the molecule on something, and when the connection between everything will happen, that would be fantastic.
So, do you really think pharma won't survive?
No, they won't. I mean, they will for 10 years, like investment, whatever, but they won't be the future. I mean, they're still important. They bring innovation. They're finding amazing drugs. Like GLP-1 is amazing. Ozempic has changed a lot of people's faces. I was seeing sometimes people that were talking yesterday, you know, in the big panel room, and you were seeing their face on the picture. That was pre-Ozempic. And then you had them in real time, post-Ozempic. It was funny to compare, right? Like people are like, oh my God. So it's changing people's faces, it's changing people's faith as well. And it's, I mean, the best productivity gain in the last years is Ozempic. People don't die before 65 years old. So pharma still have a spot, but it's too much legacy to be fully reinvented. So they will bring innovations, they will bring power. And I think pharma have kind of failed the transformation to AI because it's very difficult to bring the right talents when you're a young data scientist. Do you want to work for OpenAI or do you want to work for Pfizer? That's the problem, right? So it's very difficult. So I think like it has to be built from scratch. Pharma still has a spot, but it's going to be difficult. But I just want to say that all the system has to change. Not only technology is not only the only thing. If you look at the clinical trials, the price of one patient in a clinical trial is 160,000. Why? Because there's overhead from hospitals, CRO taking money, everybody's taking money. You could do it for 5,000. Jim, who co-founded Square, is actually building an effort to have patients paying, people paying 5,000 per patient for a clinical trial. This will change the future of medicine as much as all the tech you bring. We have to change the full system. We have to stop with this like crazy prices for clinical trials. We have to be faster, and it will be a tech play, but it will also be a process play and the change of paradigm.
So will pharma buy you or not exist?
Everybody would leave. I mean, nobody will want to work for pharma. So I think pharma hasn't acquired like so much companies. Like I think like the only example is Biotech.
Right.
They acquired InstaDeep. And I mean, I think it was great at the beginning. And then if you ask people at InstaDeep today, are you happy? They're like, oh. So it's difficult, right? It doesn't really work out. The culture is so different.
What are your biggest
think-
challenges? And how do you, your biggest challenges, and how do you respond to those challenges as an investor?
I would maybe say one thing is that I'm not sure fully that pharma may disappear, but we are in a very, very interesting time because there is a reset on how to make the drugs, how you use it, how you see it. So for instance, a company like yours or another can maybe create and forecast the creation of drugs that pharma cannot. They will be so maybe the most innovative, and you or other can think we can do the molecule, we can become a pharma. But at the same time, the pharma, you have to do the clinical trials, you have to invest a lot, so you have your part. And in your company, very interesting, Sanofi invested 200 million to partner with you. So they both say we must partner with, so it's very, that's very interesting. And also pharma has a very good opportunity, which is that maybe in 10 years, the money generated by digital platform ecosystem can be more than the medicine that has been sold. So they have also the opportunity to go back, to go into the digital system. So
But how do you explain that pharma?
you're not sure to have won. Pharma can survive.
I don't know. I mean, and maybe they survive, but they won't make the AI transformation they need to do. And they won't adopt agent at scale to be able to replace and productivize things very fast. There may be, if you look, and there's structural problem in the pharma, right? A CEO of a pharma is making too much money. The consequences of this is he has one goal in life, it's making another year to have this check. So he's never seen long term. It's a true thing. And there is a structural problem about even how much money these guys are making in terms of the top, because they just have very, very short-term goals, which is not compatible about transforming the way you process things and agentize and productize the medicine. And this is one part of the 100 problems, which I really feel that being pessimistic about the future of this industry. However, they bring way more innovation than CROs. They have done amazing stuff, but I still think it's very hard.
And you guys are friends.
We are.
Until this panel.
Right? Afterwards, we'll see. I'm going to ask both a dumb question, because I really know very little about the subject. But quantum. Will quantum have a major effect when you can simulate nature so quickly over a matter of minutes, seconds? Is that going to have a major effect on the future of drug discovery?
Of course, if you multiply the power of everything with quantum, maybe you can have results you cannot achieve. If you can make 1 billion second in 1 second, you can test everything. So, for instance, we have also invested in a other remarkable company that can forecast for one disease that maybe there is 100 potential drugs that are makeable before starting for a disease with existing stuff. So why 100? Because after you can work on 100, but if you can work on 1,000 or 1 billion hypotheses, you have more chance to really target the right stuff before starting all the clinical trials and more. So you should do much better.
Thomas, if you could change anything about your journey to today and the past, if you could change anything about how you approached your business as an entrepreneur, what would you change?
I would change 100 things. I made 100 mistakes every day. I don't know. I feel like probably what I would change is, I mean, there's so many things. I think like the trying to mix up different culture in the works, but we have to mix up a tech environment with a biotech ones, and it's extremely difficult to work. And I think like you need to be able to parallelize efforts in a very matter, because culture never really match together. The biggest difficulties in AI companies for biology is you have to hire people from the pharma that have a very different background.
Right.
And I think like I would have tried to keep things a bit more separated and more parallelized to be faster. I think this is like the cultural data science and machine learning, software engineering is very different culture. And this is the toughest thing to make work in this type of business. Probably my biggest
when you
mistakes.
look to the thank you. And when you look to the future, what's your biggest challenge?
My biggest what?
And when you look to the future, the
Yeah.
next 2-3 years, what's your biggest challenge in the short term?
I think the biggest challenge is to be able to really figure out the way to treat cancers that were not treated years ago. If people ask me, did you succeed? I'm like, no, I haven't treated cancer. I mean, we see patients that are 40 years old, right, that have cancer today. 10 years ago, there was no patients being 40 years old with pancreatic cancer. Cancer is changing, and we don't get it. So my biggest challenge is being able to prove that my technologies and be sure by myself that I can really, and my team, that we actually can change outcome of patients. And the difficulties of this business, you need to build a new AI, and you need to prove it's true in patients with real clinical trials. The only ground truth in AI for biology is actual clinical trials that works. So I think this is like the difficulties is to be able to make these proof points very fast. The right proof points in a fast manner is my biggest, challenge and what I hope for.
Dennis, do you have any thoughts on that as an investor?
I would say, not to change, I would say I look more in the future and the opportunity, because that's obvious that for the health we have never been in a period where things are so transforming. So it really changed from drug to reduce even the cost of the system through better insurance, through hospital. So some say that we may be about to live 100 years. I think if you care, it's more 150 years. But the question is how to live. I would say 99% of the time in pretty good shape. So I would say probably my future regret would be not to have invested with enough today.
But you have, and you make very courageous.
I knew I should, and tomorrow I say, if I knew, I would have invested more in
Denis
this
has
kind
made
of
very
topic.
courageous bets. Cathay Innovation has been really amazing, crypto, healthcare. You guys have taken
you.
moonshots with very few funds. Like, have the courage to... Well, it was my first investors that came to me, say, we like you, we want to invest. They didn't ask me, say, I would invest if, which is the favorite sentence of venture capitalists in general. And I'm a venture partner in funds as well, right? Is I was just like convinced that it was the future, and this is like very rare in the space.
And without the entrepreneur, there is nothing except paperwork and slideshow.
Yeah, true.
So they are the truth.
Now let me ask you, why are you guys here at this conference? Why are you in Saudi? What do you see about Saudi that makes it interesting?
Because we trust around. I think there is a lot of effort that has been done. You see this, how things are set up here. We had the luck to work with Neom, also a town. So we believe that's the first time we come, but we believe something is happening, and it's important to come to the ground to see things. So we are very excited, and also by the people we meet and we discuss it. So we are very optimistic, and we want to be part of something, but we feel something is happening.
And
Are you looking for investments here?
Yes, but I think it's more long term. We wait. We want something is happening. You have to be there and to come because something is happening there.
Yeah.
And then it's like with companies the rest is a consequence.
There is ambition. I mean, when you look at Europe, I feel like you don't know what the ambition of... You cannot define what is the ambition of Europe today. And nobody knows really. And I think like here there's a real clear ambition and sense of urgency. But also healthcare is being like a real value, I think, in people's mind here. It matters. If you see how people, even with a handicap, people are treated here, and in the Middle East in general, compared to Europe, it's amazing. People really care about the others. And I think there's a culture to go fast, strong leadership and smart leadership, right money, which matters. But above all, there's an ambition, which is exactly what Europe is missing today.
As you, one question we only have a minute left.
I would say, to complete me, I'm a proud French. So we have ambition, but now we are in a phase where we need friends.
Yeah.
More than ever. And
how do you define friends?
Huh?
How do you define friends?
In that, useful. Useful in the sense you come trying to be useful, and because you are useful, you make commitment, you help each other, and that creates friendship, and that goes longer way.
If you want to leave one message for the audience about what you're doing, what's that message from each of you?
We are here to be useful. That's
I just like invest in biology, work in biology, because nothing matters more than healthcare. And you know, people, you have 1,000 problems in life until you have a health problem, and then you have one problem. It's really what matters the most. It's more complex. The validation are longer. Anything around you that matters to biology is really something, and medicine is something that is worth investing, because this is true impact investing. And everybody says they're doing impact investing, and I'm like, yeah, right. But I think this is the real way, is health, and nothing else matters. So.
Well, I wish you both the
Thank
best.
you so much. Thank you,
I
guys.
have a lot of confidence in each of
Thank
you.
you, Denis.
Thank you, everyone.